Now, what the conversation seems to be about right now is if it's not my back, it's not my calves or something. It seems to be my chest is the newest one. So, and the truth is, I don't know. I don't feel an injury there. I don't have an injury. No injury occurred. Just like with my back, whatever that conversation that was going on at the time, there was no injury that I was aware of. Whether it's therapy work, massage work, or if there is some kind of dying off or lack of blood flow or nerve activation or something in there.
What's up, desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another video, and we're discussing Iain Valliere opening up, speaking on the Pec issue that was talked about by many in this industry from the 2023 Toronto Pro Super Show, which he did win in somewhat controversial fashion against Hassan Mustafa, a much improved Hassan Mustafa who was packed full of muscle, and really the fullness of his chest sort of accentuated, I suppose, the flatness maybe in Iain Valliere's chest, or whatever you might want to call it. Some people thought it was an injury, some people think it's nerve damage. There's a ton of theories going around about on what was up with Iain Valliere's chest, but he put out a video himself, got on the front foot, and I commend Iain, literally take my hat off to him actually getting on the front foot and doing that, because not many bodybuilders do that. We haven't seen Big Ramy do that. We haven't seen really any other guy, because they haven't, I suppose, wanted to accentuate or point out to the judges, at least they feel, about any sort of issue. But I think it's so public nowadays. I think the judges, regardless, are going to see the talk about this issue and are sort of going to be looking out for it no matter what. So if Iain can actually improve that, then he goes a long way to, I suppose, maintaining or improving his places. Now, he's obviously still planning on doing the Mr. Olympia in 2023. He said he's going down to Florida the end of June, I believe he said. He's going down there to be around his coach, Matt Jansen. Also, Raw and Revive, his sponsors based down there. Chris Bumstead, obviously his brother-in-law, and Courtney King as well, his partner, they're down there, and Melissa, his wife, Melissa Bumstead, which is Chris Bumstead's sister, is very good friends with obviously her brother and Courtney King as well. So makes a lot of sense for them to be down there for those reasons, and I'm sure for business as well. So here's what Iain Valliere posted up on Instagram. He says, nerve damage update in lowercase and capitals, just to confuse people. And I thought it was great. And really, this is the discussion that's been going on because of these sort of Pec issues, where there are little bits where his chest, I suppose, goes in a little bit, and there seems to be some sort of atrophy in some areas, but it has varied contest to contest, which we'll get to later in this video. So let's get into what Iain Valliere had to say and what he posted up on his IG page. Also, the link to the full video is in the description below.
In terms of Toronto, I'm extremely happy with the package that we brought to Toronto. I think it was a significant market improvement from the Olympia. I think my peak was very good. In terms of the conditioning, the fullness, the overall crispness of my physique, I was very happy with. I thought my back shots looked significantly better. And that was also the feedback I got from Tyler there, was that my back shots did look significantly better. He was happy with the progress I'd made on those.
I was also impressed with Iain's, I suppose, back improvements, because there was a lot of talk about nerve damage and all these sorts of things after the Olympia last year, the 2022 Mr. Olympia. He made markable improvements, and you can really tell actually more from the iPhone footage and the footage from the side of the stage and the photos from a slight side angle. For whatever reason, makes Iain look that little bit better, and that's sort of the experience you get when you're in the venue a little bit more. Because watching the actual live stream, I had Hassan Mustafa winning, and I believe you still could have definitely made a case for Hassan winning for sure, and I said that at the end of this contest, but I wasn't there in person. Iain Valliere had a lot of the same comments. Fouad Abiad had a lot of the same comments, and he put out a video after prejudging saying he has Iain Valliere winning. People speculated that was because of biases, because obviously Iain's on Fouad's podcast, they're friends, all that sort of stuff. But I mean, you don't know unless you're really there. And I say that so often, but the impression I got from the live stream, that I suppose side by side, I had Hassan Mustafa winning.
Now, what the conversation seems to be about right now is if it's not my back, it's not my calves or something. It seems to be my chest is the newest one. So, and the truth is, I don't know. I don't feel an injury there. I don't have an injury. No injury occurred. Just like with my back, whatever that, conversation that was going on at the time, there was no injury that I was aware of. The same goes for my chest. I don't have anything there that I'm aware of. Can I see what people are referring to? Sure. But I also have pictures at different points in my career where this spot in my chest on both pecs, kind of alternating at times throughout my career, was more apparent and more prevalent than it was at other times. I have pictures.
It's quite funny that Bodybuilding News Network, Sanch from there, he did a video, I believe, and he put this up on his IG page. And you can see Iain's chest has varied in contest to contest, and it seems to be based on fullness a lot of the time. There's shows where he's super full, where that chest seems to be bursting, and it seems to, I suppose, erase the gap or any sort of gap that there might be in that chest. So his holes look sort of more filled out, I guess. And I've got the same thing in one of my pecs. Like, it's maybe not quite as evident or whatever, but when I've competed and even off season, I can feel there's like a dip between the top part of my chest and then the other part. It doesn't look the same way as Iain's does, but at the same time, I could definitely see, if I got to the size of Iain, it developing into something like that. Now, the fact that Iain says that there's no injury there, the same with his back, the same with his chest, could lead me to think that it could be somewhat nerve related. Now, this seems to be what's been happening with Big Ramy. That's what the guy who's doing the doctor that's doing his stem cells has said. And basically he said that there's no injuries in Big Ramy, and they scanned his whole body. But what was happening is there's inflammation around those nerves, and it's not letting the actual muscle fire. So that could be the same issue that's going on with Iain Valliere. And he does go on to mention possible treatments later on in this video. So let's get back to it.
I have pictures from 2021. Texas Pro, hitting a crab most muscular and different most muscular variations, where you can see it on the other pec where there's a little bit of retraction in that same spot in the center. I have pictures going all the way back to, being an amateur, my early days in a pro, where I have it on the other pec when I'm at a certain level of conditioning. And then I also have some years where, when I'm bursting full, like 2019 Vancouver, where you can't see it. So I don't have an answer to this. I'm obviously going to look into it. I'm going to make sure that everything is good there, and whatever we can do to make it look as absolutely best as possible come the Olympia, whether it's therapy work, massage work, or if there is some kind of, dying off or, lack of blood flow or nerve activation or something in there, make sure I'm getting whatever work needs to be done. If it's stem cells, massage work, I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on there. But I can tell you don't feel any injury. There was no injury that occurred during training or anything of the sorts.
So Iain really doesn't know what's going on, which is a little bit scary for him, I'm sure. Like, he's putting this out and people think, oh, he's fine, he's addressing it, that's all good. But it's got to be a little bit scary to not know what exactly is happening. But there are obviously steps that he can take, and it seems like he's going to take those steps and not just ignore this issue, which would be the worst thing he could do. So he's doing all the right things. He's definitely saying all the right things at this point, and hopefully he does investigate it as much as possible and finds an answer as to why his chest is, definitely not as full. And it was evident. It was maybe more evident because of Osama Mustafa and his crazy, crazy fullness. But hopefully it's just an issue not an issue like what Big Ramy has, but hopefully it's maybe the start of one of those sorts of issues that he can quickly correct, where he can get maybe, I would love to know if he's actually feeling the muscle the same as he was prior. He says that he doesn't really know if there's no injury or anything, so maybe he's feeling it the exact same, it's just atrophying, which is very, very scary. But let's listen on.
But obviously my goal as a bodybuilder is to always improve. And if this is something that is, a small flaw in my physique that we can see, we obviously want to make it better. I appreciate that everyone cares enough to, show a level of concern for what may be going on in my physique. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't have the answers that I'm not by any level trying to avoid that conversation. And that's why I felt it was necessary to put this out and just address it so that it doesn't look like there's any level of avoidance here. So yeah, I mean, that's the plan is to do whatever we can to make it look better. Just like I did with my back from the Olympia, it was significantly better there. Some things through training, some things through posing, some things through just our peak and the fullness and pop, helping make that back look better. But just like there is there with my chest, there's no injuries that I'm aware of that I felt. Maybe I could get an MRI and look into that more.
Now, Iain mentioned about his posing, and I think one huge thing that I noticed from this contest, and I mentioned this in my live streams as well, I do go live for every contest, so if you want to get all the other contests where I'm going live, pre-judging and finals, subscribe and hit the notification bell button. But the posing was an issue for me with Iain, and it seems to be that's been an issue for a little bit. His confidence was up, which I loved. He posed better. I mean, a remarkable improvement from the Olympia. But when he was hitting a lot of those most muscular shots, he like went into a crab, I think, at one stage, and it looked good, and then he went too far in, and the chest fell in, and the shoulders took over and went forward. And really, Iain has very big shoulders, very big arms. I mean, some people say, oh, his triceps are lacking a bit or whatever, but regardless of that, his arms would still measure very big. His shoulders are very big. So when he lets his chest fall in, it does make his chest look very, and people were saying sunken chest and all that sort of stuff. But that's part of a reason. Had he pushed that sternum out and arched his back up the top and hit those most musculars, the shots can look really, really good. And if he leans over far enough, if that continues to be an issue for him by the Olympia, then I think he could do like a Marcus Rule type most muscular, put his chest out far enough so it makes his chest appear to be bigger, hiding the lower chest, and he can really transform that crab most muscular and make that a strong shot of his. And when he was hitting his hands together, one hand on the hip, he was really, really letting his chest fall back and fall in. And I don't know if he's trying to hide his chest, but regardless of what it was, he was actually hurting himself very bad here. So hopefully he corrects that by the Mr. Olympia. And I think if he does that, it's going to be much less of an issue. And it was really, I suppose, there was a couple of factors that really made it look worse. The fact that he's next to Hassan Mustafa and the fact that his posing was not on point in terms of those most muscular. So if Iain can work on that, I think he's going to come back a lot better for the Olympia. And honestly, that one change to posing, I think, can actually move him up a spot or two, because bodybuilding, pro bodybuilding specifically, around that 5th down to 20th really at the Olympia. I'd say the guys 5th to 20th are closer than they've ever been. I mean, maybe you could extend it out to, 9th down to 25th in the Olympia, or those guys in the world, they're close as they've ever been. And even the top 8 or so, they're as close as they've ever been too. So it's really exciting. So these little things can make a huge difference at the Olympia level.
And that's exactly what we'll do when we're back down in Florida. But yeah, I'm very excited to continue to improve with Matt. I think that, as anyone knows with my physique, the longer I kind of go into a season, historically, the better I get. And we did push down really hard for the show to get the conditioning where we wanted it. So now that we're already in condition, and not having to push down quite as hard, I think we have some time to really make some significant improvements here.
So great for Iain Valliere to come out about all of that. So let's get the reaction from some of the fans and some people on IG. Now, Lee Priest posted this up. I actually had Lee Priest on my finals live for that 2023 Toronto Pro, and he said, just get neck checked out with nerves around C6, C7. Mine got crushed and couldn't feel it, but chest, tri, lat, all atrophied. Just get scanned to be sure. Congratulations on your win. So valuable information. I think that's a very, very smart way to go about things, just to check that there's no direct nerve damage from anything crushed or anything like that that could be affecting his chest, maybe even potentially his back as well, although his back was improved. And you can just see from the fans and everyone after Iain put up this video, lots and lots of support, and I think it was the smartest move that Iain Valliere could have made at this point. And I really hope that Iain Valliere gets on top of this, gets the issue at least fixed or partially remedied, and remedies it with his posing and all these other things that he can control to make himself look better on stage, because that's all it's about. In terms of placing in bodybuilding, that's all it's about, how you look on stage on that day. And really, people pointing out that Iain has an issue here, they're not hating necessarily. I mean, Iain's talked about, Big Ramy and should he be penalised for holes in his quads, and, maybe he should be, but he won't, and all that sort of stuff. So it would be hypocritical if Iain said that, you can't point this out on my physique when it gets pointed out by him on other people's physique. So I think this is the right approach by Iain Valliere, and I really hope he does get it remedied. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think this will continue to be an issue for Iain Valliere with the pec, or do you think he's going to remedy it and make it better? Also, what do you think the actual issue is? Is it nerve damage? Is it, well, he doesn't think it's an injury, so that one's sort of out. Or do you think it's something else? Is it a training thing? Is it a fullness thing? What is it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills, here at Desktop Bodybuilding, and we have a ton on the way for you guys as well. So that's it for me. My name's Xavier Wills, this is Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are out.